About 3 years ago, my friend Christy started a niche site. It was her very first one. And now that it's about 3 years old, she recently crossed over lifetime earnings of $100,000. And we're going to dig into some of the details. I get questions all the time, how big these sites can get, what can they be worth, what kind of growth trajectory can I expect? So we're going to talk to Christy and hear straight from her exactly what you might expect. And this is a, real case study. Christy, how are you today?
Doing well. How are you?
Doing awesome. And I just want to dig into some of the details. So you've been working on your site for about 3 years, as I mentioned. How many articles are there right now?
Sure. We have about 450, 460 articles right now. And that's been since October 2018.
What is the average monthly income in 2021?
Sure. So for this year, averaging about $5,700 a month.
Awesome. And it's from a variety of income sources, and you're getting traffic mostly from Google. I think it's something like 90% from Google, but generally we can assume that your site is worth probably between $200,000 and $300,000, which is pretty amazing. Yeah, it's absolutely crazy. I remember we were getting coffee in Bozeman, Montana, where I used to live. And you were asking me about like working on affiliate sites because you didn't know anything about affiliate marketing.
Literally nothing.
So when you first started, what was your initial goal?
Yeah, my initial goal when I reached out to you the first time was probably that I had a services business of my own and was just trying to think ahead, like in 20 years, will I still want to be doing a services business? No. Right. So when I kind of heard about the structure of what an affiliate marketing site was, how it worked, it just aligned with the types of things that I enjoy doing, which is content creation, design, a little bit of web stuff, learning new things is always very appealing to me. So it seemed like the kind of structure that I might enjoy doing and that I could actually do for longer. That was the biggest thing. Like, what could I be doing for 20 years and maybe not get tired of it or not get burned out?
And what was your like sort of job before? What skills did you bring to the party that really helped out as far as working on a content site like you have?
Sure. I have been in marketing for my entire career, so probably 15, 20 years at this point. And so I have a lot of experience creating content as far as copywriting goes. That's how I made most of my living. And then also I do a fair amount of design. So I can make my own brand. I can make my own, formatting of things, social graphics, all of that is in my wheelhouse, which is nice. And then I also have kind of the other side of the brain, which is creating processes and systems. I like doing that. So having done that for my own business and creating programs and systems that work there, I just thought, this sounds like stuff that I could be good at if I learn about it.
So you're the perfect kind of weirdo to work on affiliate marketing. You had a strong writing background, you had some graphic design skills, and you like systems and repeatable processes. Perfect.
Right.
What areas do you think you were lacking, especially, looking back from what you know now? What things did you not know anything about and that you've developed skills in?
Well, the first thing that was good was the SEO part. So I literally knew nothing about it. Even in all my years of marketing, like I'd never worked on that team. I'd never been interested in that team, frankly. So I came in learning like everything from scratch for that. And that's gone really well. So like your course gave me a great start. Doing the KGR stuff was a huge help. Like that I now feel confident in 2 years later. I feel really good about that. And it's working, like you said, probably 90% of my traffic is organic search, which is great. The things I don't still know that much about or want to know about is just like the techie backend stuff. I don't dig it. It's not for me. Technical issues just set my hair on fire. So having to rely on other people for that, like it feels like the one category of things that I can't pitch in on, really, So that's tough because it's website based. Like the site has to work. Stuff goes wrong with sites all the time. Like that's just part of the gig, but that's not my wheelhouse.
Right. And luckily there are experts that you could hire in those areas, and it's a good thing for you not to worry about or not have to learn, right? We still worry about it, but
right.
Okay, very good. So going back and thinking about some of the early milestones, do you remember the first few dollars or maybe the first month or so when you earned any money from the website?
Yeah. So it was the following month because I worked in that October 2018 on making the first, I think it was like 4 articles. So the next full month, I had 70 visitors and I made $14.80.
Amazing.
And
How
I was
did you
like,
feel?
it's working, Doug.
It was, yeah, and you are a hard worker, very focused. So I knew that you would get traction quickly. So let's keep moving forward. Maybe like the first $100, first $1,000 month, if you remember any specific milestones and when they were, just to sort of anchor different places for people here.
So the first time I made $100 in a month was February of 2019. So I would call that 4 months in of actually having content on the site. The first month was more just getting the template set up and, doing all that kind of stuff. And then the first month that I crossed $1,000 was June of 2019. So basically 8 months in. And I was like, oh my gosh, Doug, I crossed $1,000. So I think maybe it was a mix of having very low expectations and also meeting those milestones faster than I thought that just like resulted in delight. I was like, it's working. So by the time I hit $1,000 in 1 month, I was like, how much money can I throw at this thing?
Right.
Like to grow it. Like I want to get there faster. How much content can I get in here? Like, let's do it. So.
Do you remember a milestone where you thought, oh, wow, this is so much more than I thought I could possibly earn doing this? And I think probably by the time you hit $1,000 in 1 month, after 8 months or whatever, you were like, oh, this is working. But yeah, when did you hit a point where you were like, oh, holy cow?
When I stopped having to explain to my parents why I was doing it, that point, that's a milestone.
Oh, nice.
When they're like, sorry, what is it? What are you doing? Yeah. So by the time I was making like $1,000 a month, I felt very good about it. I would say I do distinctly remember December of last year, so December 2020, when I very nearly hit $5,000. And I was like, oh, it's working. Right. I was like $4,900 or something, $4,988, I think. And I was just like it's so close. Right. And then this year it's averaging $5,700 a month. Right. So it definitely, like, I don't want to make it seem like it wasn't a whole lot of work, because it was a whole lot of work. But I sure did enjoy it.
Right.
So to me, it's like I like learning new things and coming up with things that I'm proud of and new programs and systems and all that. So it brings together everything that I like to do.
Okay. Very cool. And we'll start wrapping it up here, but I'm curious, is this something that you're interested in? Is this a passion of yours? Like, did you pick some random topic that looked profitable? How did you go about choosing?
Yeah. So way back in the beginning, I don't know if you remember, we would meet for coffee and talk about different niche options. And I was like, here's the one I really want to do. And you were like, okay. I mean, it might work. I don't know. It might take a while. And I was like, yeah. So I would follow the steps in your course and like come up with all the other niches that were options and do all the analysis. And then I'd look at the list and be like, but I still want to do this other one. Because I thought it would be the topic that I would stay interested in. And that was like the most important thing to me, was not just like maybe what's the best niche opportunity wise, but I was like, yeah, I have to like it. I have to like it or I'm not going to do it for 20 years. And the point of starting this is something that I could do for 20 years. So I am, in retrospect, very glad I picked my original niche idea. I was okay with it taking longer if that's what it meant. But as it turns out, like, I think I got so much more traction just working on something I liked. So I would do that.
Got it. Yeah. And I recommend people, pick something that you're at least interested in.
Right.
Something that you're like averse to. That would be a very bad idea.
Right.
So final question here. So you have about 450 articles, which is a lot, but you have been working on it for a while. So can you tell us about publishing so much content and maybe explain how it wasn't, all of a sudden you're thinking, all right, how do I publish 450 articles? How do I approach it month by month?
Yeah. Well, I remember writing the first 4 articles myself, and it took forever. I was just like, I write for a living. Why is this taking 100 years? Like, okay. But I hadn't blogged. Like, I didn't have a structure for it. I was taking way too long. Like, I was writing some big, pillar posts is what we called them in the beginning. And so it just took a lot of time. And I just thought, I am never going to be able to build enough content by myself. So I went out to Upwork and I ended up, I think, trying maybe 10 or 15 different writers, doing kind of a test post with all of them. Went through this process of finding writers that I liked, figuring out what they were good at. That was probably a good month of doing that. And then after that, I had kind of my KGR hit list of topics, and I matched them up with each, I think it was maybe 10 writers, 6 or 10 that I thought would be good. And I matched each of them up with 5 different topics from my KGR list. And that was like my first sprint. So it was probably, 60 or 100 articles. And I did it all at once, basically. I mean, it was over the course of a couple of months, but like that was the sprint and that was what I was focused on. And then I've kept kind of doing sprints like that over time. 2021 was actually the first year that I haven't done a ton of content because we've been working on other things like my own products and things like that. So I did one sprint this spring and I'm now doing a mini sprint for the holidays. But I would say for me, it works best to kind of bundle and not be doing, trying to manage writers doing 3 articles a week all year. I would much prefer do 60 articles in a batch and like chug through it and then let those bake for the rest of the year. So big fan of the front loading of content for sure.
I like it. Yeah, me too. So if people want to actually get a hold of the templates that you were just talking about that you use for all the writing and stuff, I'll put a link in the description here. And if they want to hear more from you, Christy, we've done interviews each month all through 2021. So I'll put links in the description here so people can check out all those videos and hear the play-by-play each month. Thanks for hanging out with me today, and we'll talk soon.
Bye, Doug.